There is no doubt that our health is our true wealth.
Tuning into what's right for you. It depends what your issues are.
But oftentimes we don't realize that until it's too late.
Take an honest look at what you're doing and what you're eating and drinking and what other habits you have.
It's very easy to get distracted in the world, to prioritize everyone and everything else. And then all of a sudden, we hit a rock or a boulder.
Once you get back into your older habit, it's harder to get going again.
Something that stops us in our tracks. And oftentimes, it's at such a point that it's even harder to reverse.
Welcome. You have entered the realm of 1111 Talk Radio. Your host is Simran. It's time to discover your own language with the universe. Empower yourself. Broaden your mind. Open your heart. Here's your host, Simran.
With the healthcare system in the state that it is, with monetary systems and political systems feeling quite in flux these days, it's time to become our own doctors, or at the very least, to become more responsible when it comes to our health and our bodies, to learn that we have much more power than we often think we have. My guest today is the Detox Doc. Dr. Elson Haas is an integrative family physician with more than 50 years of experience in patient care. He is a family doctor who cares, and one of his key maxims is, our health is much more in our own hands than we realize. He's the author of numerous books, including The Detox Diet, as well as Staying Healthy with the Seasons. And today we are going to be talking about how detoxing, eating in the correct seasons, and taking control of your own health care can support you in these times of flux. Welcome, Elson. It's so great to have you back on 1111 Talk Radio again. I'm looking forward to this rich conversation that I'm sure will help so many.
Thank you, Simran, and all your listeners. It's good to be here with you. You're a wise lady who understands the importance of health. It's up to us how we take care of ourselves and how to navigate a little bit with our doctors and the system that's pretty much under stress right now.
Most people don't realize how out of body they really are, how disconnected they are to the sensations or the signals that the body is trying to give them. And oftentimes it is not until they have a crisis point where blood pressure is too high, or kidney stones develop, or a heart attack starts to emerge, or any of the number of things that stress and unconscious living can create. Talk a little bit about how this out-of-body disconnection eventually does lead us or point us to being more connected and having to pay attention.
Many people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Falling down is one of the day-to-day pieces that we need to be aware of and present in our bodies. People often say, I had an accident or things like that. Rarely are there accidents. They're really when we're not aware. I was in Mexico with my family several months ago, and I've never broken a bone. I've never really fallen down. And I caught my tip of my sandal on a ridge on a cobblestone street, and I went immediately down in a second, and I knew I hurt my elbow. I wrote an article that's up on my website called Healthy Walking and Avoiding Falls. And I teach people, my patients a lot, especially the elders, how to walk, take longer strides and lift their feet up and put your heel down first. And it's really important, but it only takes a second of distraction or thinking about something else to hurt yourself. Every day in practice, I have somebody who injured, was in a bike accident, a car accident, or just fallen. So that's a start. But deeper in that, Simran, is looking at when we don't feel well, what's the message? My whole beginning in integrative medicine was getting to the causes of things. I have a whole chapter on understanding the causes of disease in Staying Healthy with New Medicine. To me, it's really deep in our cells, and the idea that detox or toxicity, we're either deficient or toxic. We're exposed to chemicals and metals and things like that in our air, food, and water, or many things we put on our body. So I try and get people down to that core level, like, when you don't feel well, what's out of balance? And it's always the question, the difference between a Western medicine approach and an integrative approach or a cause approach is Western medicine, the question more is, what can I take to make this go away? A more natural approach is like, why is this present? What's it doing? What's the message here? And so I think it starts with different questions. And it also starts with using a variety of systems. We don't need to have a drug for everything. A lot of times it just means we have to make some changes. We have to let go of our substances that we do every day, or the relationship stress that we have, or the work stress we have. We have to learn how to manage all those areas.
We live in a world that wants everything very fast, and it's often difficult for individuals to slow down enough. So even in the approach of shifting nutrition or doing a detox, or even going to a doctor to approach an ailment that has arisen, how do you get people to realize that this can't be a quick fix, that we're talking about lifestyle changes, that we are looking at the long game and have to stop looking at the short game?
Well, one of the ways to realize is when we don't feel well, think lifestyle first, natural therapies next, drugs as a last resort. To me, it's like assessing our different dimensions. That's where my detox now has taken to a different level, because I've been doing group detoxes for 30, 40 years at least. And I do them online now. And to me, it really has people getting started and making a decision and making a plan is kind of the hardest step, because it means making some changes to letting go of our substances, our snacks, SNACC, sugar, nicotine, alcohol, caffeine, chemicals, taking a break from those, letting certain foods like meats and dairy products and gluten and a lot of baked goods freaks people out a little bit. But once you get started, it really makes a difference in how you feel, and it lightens your body up. And a lot of the symptoms and medical problems that can be helped from a detox program. And if you haven't done that before, it really is a valuable transformation for our health. And to me, that's always a place to start. When I look at a new patient, I have a questionnaire, and I've been using for 40 plus years. It's in the back of my Staying Healthy with the Seasons book, and it looks at your whole life. When I see patients, I'm not just, I can see people in a couple of minutes and say, oh yeah, you have allergies or you have a skin rash or do this for it. But to go deeper and to look at what's the cause, what are the factors there, it takes a little bit more work, and it also takes thinking a little bit differently. When we're talking about healing, we're talking about the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of ourselves, because when we're not well, there's components that are on each of those levels. It might just be the way we're thinking about things. There's a lot to do when you were looking at healing versus treatment.
I do believe that everything has that spiritual foundation and that we have to look at the holistic approach. I'm not just talking holistic, holistic. I'm talking about holistic with a W in front of it. It is that whole body being, which you're talking about, these different levels. You say that detoxification is the missing link. Talk a little bit about your first juice cleanse back in 1975 and how that really became key in your understanding of how the body must be supported for these other levels and layers to then also be approached.
But when I hear that from you, it makes me smile, because that was a transformation for me. I didn't learn anything about health and healing or about nutrition or about natural medicines or about herbs or about mind body. I didn't learn any of that in my 4 years in medical school and internship and beyond. I had to study that on my own. I left Ann Arbor, Michigan to California in 1972, and then it pretty much went into practice in later 73. That's a long time now, and I'm still feeling pretty youthful, even though I'm getting older. But I went and heard this talk by a man, Stanley Burroughs, who wrote a little booklet called The Master Cleanser. And he's up there, and an overweight guy, and I'm overweight and have allergies for 20 years. And he says, just do this. He was kind of putting down the Western medical system. So I kind of aligned with him in that, because I realized the shortcomings of that. I said, okay, well, what do I got to lose? Let's try it. So I just the next day started drinking lemon juice, maple syrup, cayenne pepper, and water. And I just started drinking that all day. And I felt pretty crummy for a couple days. But the third day, it was a shift. And I woke up, and my allergies that I woke up with and my congestion every day cleared. And I could breathe clearly. And I started to feel lighter and lighter. My body let go of 20 pounds in the 10 days. I realized, I said, what I was putting in my body wasn't really serving me. And so it awakened me, and I changed my statement to, wow, I have one body. I don't need to do all the things I'm doing to it. I need to take care of it as if I loved myself. So with that, I started doing better exercise and eating differently, and started doing cleanses every month. So I was doing new moon breaks from other food and just doing some fresh juices. And I'm in my 20s then, so it was a little easier. And it really changed my whole life. This was really powerful healing. Why isn't this part of the system? So I offered a free detox group in Northern California, coastal town I was in. I had 30 people come to that. And they affected another 200 or 300 people over the summer, because everybody was walking around shiny face, smiling and saying, wow, I haven't felt like this in years. That was my first experience. And I've been doing Master Cleanse, 10-day group, and now I do it with added fresh juices and sometimes soup broth and things like that. But I've been doing that every year in the spring for 50 years this year. I think it helps keep me a little more youthful. I grew up overweight. I have to work on that. I have to work on eating the right food, not eating too much, not eating too late at night. But we all have our individual factors and issues that contribute to our good health or poor health. And so that's what we have to tune into.
I've often realized in my own life, and I think that a lot of people can get the formula upside down, in that they focus on the mind and trying to really make this strong mind before they ever approach the other levels. What I have found is, if I don't approach my body first, if I don't create that rooted foundation within the body on anything, then the changes in the mind and in the emotional body really can't sustain. They won't integrate. The patterns, the habits, the new behaviors, they won't last. Do you find that? Do you find that if someone just decides with their mind, I'm going to do this, that eventually it drops off, that they have to truly integrate their body with everything that they do?
Yeah, I think so. I think we have to stay tuned to the physical is the outcome. It's the outcome of the energetic. It's the outcome of the emotional realm. It's the outcome of the mental state, because we stress ourselves a lot. It's connected to our spiritual being, which is our core self. Who are we really deep inside? What's our path? And we all have this individual path in life. And to me, we're so engaged with busyness and doing and phones and partying, and there are habits that we can't step back from that and say, okay, I think I need to take a little break here and look at things. So change is hard, but change is the only constant in the universe. Everything is changing. To take an honest look at what you're doing, and what you're eating and drinking, and what other habits you have. Connect with the emotional and mental self particularly, and to reduce. That's where our stresses are often. And then there's a bigger stress, is if we're not living the path that we have at our core being, engaging with that, then we may not feel well.
For those people that have never done a detox, or have never heard of the Master Cleanse or the type of detox that you take individuals through, and I know you've got one coming up April 26th, the whole body detox that's coming, that people can register for, and actually April 12th, they can attend a free webinar on that on your website in the bio description below. But are there any contraindications to detoxing?
Well, it depends what you're talking about. If you talk about simple detox, I'm getting rid of the junk and the chemicals that I'm eating, and I'm eating healthy, nourishing food. Like my detox diet is basically 3 meals. It's steamed vegetables at lunch and dinner, fruit and grain in the morning, drinking the veggie water. You're trying to alkalinize and reduce the acid inflammatory components in your body. That's simple. Anybody could do that. That's an improvement of your health. And if you add a little protein and oil to that diet, you can do that on a longer term basis. But if you're talking about juice cleansing, which is part of what we do in the spring program, if you're pregnant or nursing, or you're very fatigued, you think about the body balancing. When you have congestion and inflammation and pain, you need to be detoxed. When you have weakness, or your weight is down, or you're fatigued a lot, you may not need to detox. You may need to be more nourished. So you look at that. But in my detox diet book, I have a whole section on who should, watch out for that. If you're being under treatment for cancer or some other advanced illness, yeah, you have to have good guidance from the right people. Now, your medical doctor may not know much about it, but they may just say, no, don't do that. Sounds too extreme, which, it may be for you. So you have to kind of get the right guidance.
Yes, you have two very powerful books, The Detox Diet and Staying Healthy with the Seasons. And within Staying Healthy with the Seasons, you actually outline the diet focus for each season. You say spring is about cleansing, summer is about cooling, autumn is about building, and winter is about heating. And you assist individuals in understanding what herbs, what fruits, what vegetables, what types of foods to eat with those seasons. I know that a lot of Eastern philosophy is really grounded in that, and it seems only natural that we would follow that type of thing because, in essence, we are nature. Our bodies are earth. Doesn't it just make common sense that we follow the seasons?
Yes. I mean, to me, that was the simplest idea. I studied, after med school, when I realized when I became a doctor, I had to make a pledge and follow Hippocratic oath, first do no harm. Well, Western medicine is not built that way. It's a very harmful, potentially, system, but it's also very healing. And there's a lot of breakthroughs. I mean, I'm still a Western medical family doctor, but I bring a lot of other things into the practice. And my encouragement is to take care of people, help them get better, keep them out of hospitals and emergency rooms, which are very costly and potentially dangerous, and out of surgery. Like I was able to hold off on surgery on my elbow and heal it pretty well so far. The key is maintain your health as best you can. One of the things I'm talking about more recently is how to stay healthy in our broken healthcare system, because it's gotten very expensive and people are confused about their insurances. They get overcharged for this and that. It's really a challenge to work with the system, and people don't understand it that well. So I've been doing some talks about how to stay healthy and how to work and navigate the system that's very expensive and, potentially risky because the treatments are more intense. When you don't feel well and you go to a hospital or you go to the emergency room, you're in their hands, and they're going to do a lot of things. Some may not be needed, but, many are. The Western medicine system works well for treating more serious problems. It doesn't work well for maintaining and helping prevent problems. That's where, more natural medicine and even Eastern medicine and traditional Chinese medicine have a better handle on what does it take to maintain your balance and your health.
When we look at those things, the healthcare system in itself can be quite overwhelming, but equally overwhelming can be shots and vaccines or taking vitamins and supplements. There's just so much out there. Everyone is claiming to have the fix or to have the thing that is needed. How does someone navigate truly choosing what's correct for them and not overburdening their system with too much, or not taking the things that are not truly filling up their system with what it needs?
Yeah, and there's a lot of belief systems going on, and there, lots much more even in the country now since the election, RFK and their different approach. I mean, on one hand, vaccines have saved lives. They've conquered certain diseases. But we think about that and we taken to me, a philosophical turn in the wrong direction, thinking that, oh, the more shots I get and the more vaccines I have, the better I'm going to be. And I don't think that's the case. I think there's a certain amount of overload and problem with the immune system. That's why people get sick so easily nowadays, because their immune system's been stressed with substances and certain microbes or microbe components that stimulate the immune system. And the whole thing with COVID has been confusing as heck for everybody. Every person has to make their own decision. And we lost that a little bit when COVID came out, where everybody was mandated to do this and that. But I had a lot of patients, since I have kind of a alternative-minded clientele. I had a lot of people who said, I don't want any part of that, I don't trust it, so they had to get some shots or and many people got COVID, many people got sick. So, it was a serious problem. And part of the issue in our healthcare system is that the drug companies and the insurance companies dominate and control things. And everybody's, just like you talked about, people are selling, supplements and medicines, and they're all pitching because they want a piece of the dollar pie, So it's hard to know what to do. That's why the more educated we are, we'll see what happens in the next couple of years in terms of vaccine mandates and what we're going to look at as improved health. To me, there's nothing like self-care and taking the best care of yourself and living a healthy lifestyle. That trumps everything.
With all that is out there right now, in our food, in the air, in water, through EMFs, the body continually becomes weighed down, clogged, and overburdened. There comes a point when the body tells us we have to stop because we've ignored it for far too long. Dr. Haas's new online course, The Whole Self Detox, which explores the 4 primary aspects of our lives, emotional, mental, and spiritual, and includes alternative healing techniques, detox info, guided meditations, mindful movement practice, mental and emotional well-being, and much more. Dr. Haas is a family doctor who cares. He's been on a mission for over 51 years to help people stay healthy. His longtime motto, one of his key maxims, is, "Our health is much more in our own hands than we realize." Dr. Elson Haas is the founder and director of the Preventative Medical Center of Marin in Northern California, ElsonHaasMD.com. I want to invite you to the 1111 Collective. You can go to 1111mag.com and register there to be informed about all the shows, the new 1111 magazine issues, and to keep in touch with everything that's happening for your own personal growth and evolution. You are not on a journey. You are the journey. We'll be right back after these messages.
Simran is an award-winning author, publisher of 1111 Magazine, powerful speaker of wisdom, and a life mentor. Find out more at IamSimran.com. Now, back to 1111 Talk Radio.
I want to invite you to the 1111 Collective. You can go to 1111mag.com and register there to be informed about all the shows, the new 1111 magazine issues, and to keep in touch with everything that's happening for your own personal growth and evolution. You are not on a journey. You are the journey. My guest today is the Detox Doc. Elson Haas, MD, is an integrative family physician with more than 50 years of experience in patient care. Considered to be one of the fathers of integrative medicine, Elson Haas developed an approach to healing that incorporates natural, Eastern, and Western medical approaches, or what he calls New the Seasons, which was one of his first books to integrate Eastern healing traditions with Western medical practice and natural medicine. He's the author of numerous books, including The Detox Diet, as well as Staying Healthy with the Seasons. April 26th, the Whole Body Detox. April 12th, attend a free webinar on that in the bio description below, ElsonHaasMD.com. Our bodies are affected by our minds, our emotions, and our spiritual connection. Everything is connected. Whole Self Detox is about working with all aspects of our life for a total reset. It's important to remember as we do any of these changes to pay attention to our mental and emotional states as well as body energies. When we lighten our body, we get closer to our spirit's presence. The optimal goal for health and well-being is to prevent common medical conditions and, when necessary, to treat them by incorporating natural Eastern and Western therapies using safe, effective, and relatively low-cost treatments to avoid expensive hospital visits, surgeries, and medicines. We can reverse many chronic diseases like hypertension, heart disease, and diabetes with natural and lifestyle approaches.
To me, there's nothing like self-care and taking the best care of yourself and living a healthy lifestyle. That trumps everything.
Companies that are out there, particularly supplement companies, one of the big claims that is often used is that our nutrition is no longer nutritious, that our soil is depleted, of the types of minerals and vitamins that are required to grow healthy foods, and that even a lot of our vegetables and different things that are grown are now GMO or not truly created in the optimal way that they once grew. Talk a little bit about your thoughts in regard to our food and nutrition and what percentage you feel like is food-based and what percentage every person is required to supplement with vitamins or other supplements.
Well, I think there's always room for a little insurance coverage with making sure all the nutrients. Remember, I talked about our health is based on healthy cells, and healthy cells are created when we get all the vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids, and the phytonutrients, which are the nutrients in the foods. And the opposite, what undermines our cellular health, is the toxins, the chemicals and metals. I think, it varies from place to place what's in the soil. If you grow your own food, that's closest to home. If you buy organic food, typically they're not harming the earth as much. So those are areas to consider, and that's why many people are looking at improving their health, or eating organic foods, or growing their own stuff. If you're getting a lot more refined foods, you're undermining your health a bit too. So it's like getting back to nature and making things simpler. To me, is the key, and that's where eating seasonally, trying to get more smaller farm crops that maybe haven't depleted the soil as much, I think, is a way to think about it.
And so if I'm hearing you correctly, the food is out there for us to get if we're choosing the correct foods. The real barrier to our health has to do with everything the body is collecting that needs to be detoxed so that the organs in the body can work optimally.
Yeah, basically, the more we support our body with good food and don't overdo it, the easier we have on our stress. And it still comes back some around to, when you don't feel well, you have symptoms. What's underlying that? What's the cause? Is it certain foods you're eating? Is it the excess of stimulants and poor sleep that you get, and the fatigue that you have, or the muscle aches and pains? What are the factors that contribute to us, not maintaining and sustaining our health? I kind of awakened back, 50 years ago, and I said, wow, this is the only body I have. I have to treat it with love. I have to take good care of it. I have to feed it good stuff. I have to exercise it. I have to make sure it gets sleep, make sure I handle my stress and learn how to deal with emotional and mental upsets. And I'm following a path that feels good to me. So when I turned, 60, I realized I'm not retiring because what I was doing was something that I love doing, which is doing patient care and being, instrumental in hopefully improving the healthcare delivery system. So to me, that's, where it starts. And so as we get older, we want to be doing things that are spiritually or support our destiny. And like, how do I want to see myself? I coach people a lot in the cycles of life. You're 58 now. Okay, well, what are you thinking about doing? Are you happy with what you're doing? Is it a job that you like? Is it a job that's a joy?
I love that. I truly believe that we have only one life purpose. And despite how our ego sends us out into all these other directions, I believe that there is one singular life purpose for each one of us, and that is self-love. And what you're talking about has everything to do with self-love, whether it is the food that we impart into our bodies, or whether it's the detoxing, or the different multi-level exploration of a whole body detox. It
Right.
is a way to learn how to love the self. A lot of individuals right now, and again, another big topic in marketing and business out there, has to do with gastrointestinal health, dealing with the gut biome, fixing the gut from whatever is in there. How does detoxing support that gut biome? And how do we rebuild that, what we have stripped away?
Thank you. Well, so, obviously, when you love yourself, you take better care of yourself, and you're able to love others, and others love you as well. So that's kind of a key answer. Intestinal and the detox diet, I have a whole chapter on gastrointestinal health. People have taken antibiotics. Some people take hormones, birth control pills that can alter the function there. Our stress, the gut is where our emotional stress goes to more than probably any other area of that and the nervous system. So people have the issues, the mood and energy disorders of fatigue, insomnia, depression, and anxiety. And those things, need to be handled, individually. And a lot of times people are just taking medicines for them, but there's a lot of other things you can do for that. But keeping our digestion together starts with, healthy habits, chewing our food well, not eating too much, making sure, paying attention to see if there's certain foods that you react to. So where the detox comes in is it helps create more peace in the digestive tract. We start to get less gas and bloating. But I did, when I first started doing my cleansing and detox, I was doing colonics and, colon irrigation. I was doing, in Master Cleanse, you drink salt water, which helps flush everything out. So, there's kind of extreme stuff to go on, but, the gut and the microbiome is key, and we're actually researching that a lot more and getting more information on it. I even have patients come, they're doing this program and that program, and they're getting some improvement, because when your gut's not right, the world's not right.
And when it comes to detoxing, is it something that people should do quarterly? Is this a twice a year thing? Is it more like intermittent fasting? What's the best way to really support that life maintenance?
Well, I think it's tuning into what's right for you. It depends what your issues are. I say when I did mine, I was overweight and allergic, and I started realizing as the month went on, I would tend to get a little looser with my habits and go back to some old pattern. So that's why if I did 3 days, every new moon after my first one, I did that like for 18 months, I remember. And I would just do, a simplified, come back to like cleansing diet, doing a fresh smoothie or juice a couple times a day, and I was eating a lot lighter, and I was the lightest weight-wise that I've ever been in my adult life back then. It's individual. It depends, what you need and what your success is. I have a lot of people who do the juice cleanse with me every year. They're on my online program. They're able to do it better when they feel part of a group. You start with doing it, and then your body, again, besides love yourself, is listen to your body. Your body will tell you, oh, I need this now, I need that now. But realize that once you get back into your kind of older habit, it's harder to get going again. I tell people the hardest part about any detox program is getting started. But the first part of that is looking at what your options are. So when I do my program, like my whole self detox, in the first session, we look at our options for what kind of detox we'll do. And then I have people do a form called Make a Plan, where they actually write down what they're going to do in terms of nutrients, in terms of cleansing, in terms of exercise, in terms of mind-body, aspects. And they sign that. And that's part of your commitment to yourself. And that's where your self-love comes in.
And it does require that commitment to the self. It's like any type of addiction, and even our way of eating becomes an addiction that can become detrimental. So we can't heal until we first realize we have a problem, and second, until we make the choice and the commitment to make a change. Another area that many people have issues with, and a lot of it is because of stored anger. It certainly impacts the liver, but we also hear a lot about fatty liver. And I imagine that impacting the liver in that way, whether it's emotionally or through the toxins that we take in that clog it up, that actually creates the backup in the system that then impacts the kidneys and the gallbladder and the heart and every other part of our body, so that we become sluggish. Can you talk a little bit about the liver health and how detoxing supports that liver?
Well, the liver is obviously your master, detox organ. It does a lot of functions. Fatty liver is kind of, in the last 10 years, it's gotten to be a more popular diagnosis. And the causes, is it alcohol? Is it too much fried fatty food? Is it too much junk, even sugar? So, I don't think we totally understand all that. But if you're diagnosed with that, like if you have pain or you have an ultrasound or something that shows that, a lot of people have cysts in their body, liver cysts and kidney cysts and ovarian cysts in women. It's a matter of just looking at, get rid of your fried foods, do less alcohol, and any other medicines that you do that might be impacting the liver. That's kind of a newer thing in healthcare that I've seen in the last, decade or so. So yeah, it's just say Western medicine does not have a good treatment for fatty liver. So it's just looking at that. But mostly it has to do with people who've had a poor diet for years and they usually are overweight a little bit.
So it sounds like Western medicine is necessary when we get to these really acute stages where we have to have something very powerful to step in and fix an issue. But if we really utilize natural remedies as well as Eastern philosophy, then we can create more of a balanced lifestyle and actually become our own doctor, as you say.
So being your own best doctor is taking time for yourself. It's breathing and relaxing. It's listening to your body. When you get up in the morning, it's nice to put your hand on your heart and the other hand on your belly and just breathe a few minutes and say, okay, what's this day about? What can I do? How can I serve you, body? So there's a dialogue that you can start with. You're interacting with your whole being, having guidance there. If you're ill, you should Google your body. You just ask, body, what's this about? I don't know if you can AI your body now, and I'll tell you in AI language, but I think that the key is just being able to take time and listen. That's why meditation and that's why being out in nature and exercise is so valuable to tuning into what's right for you. And that's a daily process as well as a lifelong process. What's right for me? What should I do today? What should I eat today? Any good nutrition program or weight loss program has to do with plan ahead. What's on your schedule? What's my meals for tomorrow? And that's true. And the same is true about, what supplements or medicine should I take? Every one of my patients is on their own unique program of food, medicines, and natural medicine and nutritional supplements. No two people are on the same that I've seen yet.
At each turn in our human journey, experiences arise that continuously try to point us back. The final place to get our attention is often the body, through sickness, through disease, through the many complications that occur, because we keep dragging the body along, rather than realizing we are here to be in partnership. Whole Self Detox is a new program offered by Dr. Elson Haas, expanded from his regular spring cleanse and general detox programs he's been doing for 40-plus years. Whole Self Detox is much more than just a dietary cleanse or sipping smoothies, or even a multi-day master cleanse. Elson Haas, MD, is an integrative family physician with more than 50 years of experience in patient care. Considered to be one of the fathers of integrative medicine, Elson Haas developed an approach to healing that incorporates natural, Eastern, and Western medical approaches, or what he calls New the Seasons, which was one of his first books to integrate Eastern healing traditions with Western medical practice and natural medicine. ElsonHaasMD.com. I want to invite you to the 1111 Collective. You can go to 1111mag.com and register there to be informed about all the shows, the new 1111 magazine issues, and to keep in touch with everything that's happening for your own personal growth and evolution. 1111 is devoted to the journey of your soul. Visit 1111mag.com and join the 1111 Collective. I look forward to being in relationship with you there. Thank you so much, Dr. Haas, for being on 1111 Talk Radio again. It's always a pleasure. Until next week, I am Simran, in love, of love, with love, and as love. Be well.
Thank you. Amen.
Thank you for opening your mind to a new reality, your heart to greater compassion, and your experience of aliveness with 1111 Talk Radio. Join host Simran next Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern Time to step through the gateway of conscious living. You are not on the journey. You are the journey.